What is up, fight fans? It is Open Mat time. We are here, and when I say we, me and Drake are here. Davidson's dead to me, and I'm in a group chat with a Five Finger Death Punch fan, so I'm like suffering.
Oh my god!
Sorry, I had to. I didn't forget.
You would leave it. You're gonna call me out.
I am Blaine Henry, and I'm here with my partner in crime, Drake Riggs. Drake, how are you doing today, brother?
Doing good, man. It's still living in this quarantine world. Got a rainy day. It was sunny for a couple days, but Pacific Northwest, we're used to the rain, so I don't even know why I'm mentioning it. It's normal.
The sun's the news there.
Yes,
like,
exactly. That's the crazy thing.
Oh man. So yeah, I've been working. They don't I'm essential apparently because I'm supply chain. So I'm working and talking about fights that don't exist. So I'm having fun. So today's show we're going to dive into UFC 249. So it seems like that's the only thing we've been talking about because it's been in limbo. We're going to be talking about Tony Ferguson and Amanda Nunes, Conor McGregor, and Submission Underground 13. So let's go ahead, and it's a nice segue from last episode. So UFC 249 was canceled for last weekend, and now it's a go for this weekend, or not this weekend, but May 9th.
Whenever it is.
Yeah. What do you make of that? I mean, UFC 249. There was something like might be 250, might be 249,
Yeah.
and Brett Okamoto cleared it up for us. So, what's your thoughts on that? Good to go or what?
Well, just to talk about the numbering system, first of all, it is kind of funny that they're not funny, I guess, but historically, I guess it is funny for it to be 249 still, because we've seen them cancel events before, like 151. Gone. That event didn't happen. They didn't just move. They didn't turn 152 into 151, right? They did the same thing with 176 and 233. Those numbers are cards that are dead.
The John Jones OSP card?
That was 197. 176 was Mendez and Aldo too, because it was supposed to happen then, and then they bumped it to 79, I think.
That's right.
But either way, those three were ones that just dead cards. They just moved on, skipped over them with the numbers. I assume they were going to do the same thing with this one because, I mean, May 9th was originally 250 anyways, but they're going to be like, adjust the order for this one. So that is funny, yeah, that they're going to do it that way this time. If it happens, though, like this whole time, I just can't get excited, man. It's such a bummer. I'm like, why are they trying to make me so, they want me to get hyped, but I can't do it because I still don't trust it's going to happen, I mean, we'll see, but.
So I wrote up about UFC 249 for Eric at My MMA News. Shout out, we both repping. And I put in the article that the UFC was honey dicking us, and he said I couldn't say that. But that's exactly what they're doing.
Very accurate, yeah.
Exactly what they're doing. I couldn't think of a better word for it. I feel like 249, the reason they're staying with it is because they put a lot of marketing into it. And as with cards in the past, they've marketed them, and now they can't remarket the next one as that. Whereas this one's kind of been in everything else in front of this is marketing limbo. I think that's really the only reason they can.
And everyone's been hearing that number anyways, right?
Yes.
So.
And it'll go down as a legendary fight card once it happens. Weather the storm.
It has to at this point.
Right. It's in the apocalypse. In the apocalypse, there's going to be nothing but cockroaches in UFC 249. That's it.
Oh my god.
Oh. Anyway, so Amanda Nunes announced that she is out of this card with Felicia Spencer. She says she wants a full fight camp for this card. What do you make of that? I like the move. I like the idea of Nunes. I don't think anyone should have to fight on this card. I like how she's doing this.
No, absolutely. It's a great move. And I mean, someone in her position, double champ, she can call the shots, man. What's she going to lose out of this, right? What are they going to do? They're going to, let's cut Nunes. No, not happening. I mean, that's obviously the most drastic measure there. But no, I mean, yeah, can't blame her. And I mean, Felicia Spencer, her opponent, I think, everybody's kind of overlooks the featherweight division as is against, the more notable established names, like there was Cyborg, obviously. And I mean, you can't really make that comparison because she wasn't fighting featherweights really as champion in the UFC. We were getting the bantamweights coming up, which, been a thing for her whole career. But Felicia, for an example, is a true featherweight, legit featherweight, top 5 fighter in the division. You can think whatever you want about that, but it's true. She is a legit featherweight. I think, a very fun stylistic matchup there. And, it kind of shows there's danger in it. And especially when you're not getting proper preparation, that gives Felicia an even better chance. So, yeah, I think it's a very smart move for Nunes. Why risk it during such a crazy time? I mean, she's about to be a mother, with Nina Ansaroff. So it's like there's that added risk. And you're risking, your marketability as a champion, a double champion, a very rare thing, by taking that fight and potentially, if she was to lose. So yeah, there's just a lot of things that kind of could have impacted her, maybe more than others. So, but yeah, you can't fault her at all for that. And if I'm sure people are, because people are dickheads, but it's whatever.
Yeah, I think Amanda Nunes is on the cusp of superstardom here. To not quite Ronda Rousey levels, but should be the biggest female fighter besides Ronda Rousey the UFC's ever seen. I think she's right on the cusp of that. You're starting to see her getting a little bit more promotion, marketing after the Cyborg fight and so on. For her to say, "Hey, I want this fight on a full camp," is a very smart move. Sometimes we'll get to where these fighters they get big and then they neglect their fighting, like Ronda Rousey. She started acting and stuff, and they fall off the wayside with fighting. The game catches up to her. Amanda Nunes doesn't want that, so I like the move by her. To take Felicia Spencer very seriously, because Felicia's tough. If you remember, she gave Cyborg hell in their fight. Cyborg was winning the fight the whole time, but Felicia didn't go away quietly like Yana Kunitskaya, which was the closest 145er she fought before Felicia Spencer. So how soon do you want to see that fight booked? UFC 250 or beyond that?
You see that question, is so hard for me because of, the uncertainty with everything. So it's like, I can't give like a real legit answer, but I mean, as soon as she can, things aren't going to naturally return normal, like in a snap, right? It's not going to be like, okay, tomorrow everything's open again, right? You can't do it that way. It's got to be like a gradual, slow reopening process, right? So I think depending on like when we can get some normalcy going again, right? Like maybe open up the gym first before other places that have like big gatherings and whatnot, so like once there's that little bit of, all right, things are starting to, slowly move back into, regular everyday life, maybe that could be the point where she'd feel comfortable, and be able to work the proper camp that she wants. Who knows when that would be? I mean, if we're looking at it right now, it's the end of April here. Maybe aim for August-ish, maybe the end of August. It just depends on a lot of things. It's really hard to gauge, but essentially it's just whenever she feels like she can get the right amount of training that she wants, So, but yeah, I guess if I'll have to give something, I'll say end of August-ish, maybe early September.
I like that. UFC 251 is now International Fight Week, correct?
I mean, if there is one, if there is an international
fight schedule
week,
is.
Yes.
So. I'd like to see her on 251. International Fight Week would be a good spot for her. There's a lot of eyes on that card. To be fair, this next card is going to be a great card for her too, because there's going to be so much more. This is going to be the biggest card they have all year, next to Conor McGregor in January, coming up, because people are so hungry for the UFC, and I hope this lets them to rethink their card every week plan, because we're starving here for some fights, and I don't want there to be a month without fights, but this kind of is might open their eyes some. Then again, not that it matters, because ESPN's going to pay them regardless.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, I like the August, September as well. Amanda Nunes is the best women's fighter in MMA history, and she's one of the probably top 5 in MMA history. Period. Let her do what she wants. She's earned it. She fights. She fights a lot. She's beaten every champ. She has the right to call shots. That's just how I feel about that. I like Amanda, and she's never really given the UFC problem.
Yeah, and I mean, think about the backlash if they were to be like, no, you're going to have to take this fight. That would be a bit problematic for the UFC.
Oh,
so, yeah, if the fighters can do what they want now, and they should abuse that power, honestly, if they don't feel comfortable with something. I mean, they could single-handedly be like, everyone that's booked for that card, I mean, obviously not going to happen, but if they wanted to be like, yeah, you guys, I don't think this is a good idea. It's just kind of crazy, like they could just all stop it And that's kind of my first thought was when I saw, that she was pulling, I was like, oh, maybe the dominoes might be falling here. Maybe other people are going to feel the same way. I mean, obviously Henry and Cruz seem pretty, all on board for it. Obviously Tony and Gaethje as well, which they were already looking at it. But yeah, so probably safe. But if different fighters were lined up, who knows? Maybe they would have been feeling similar to Nunes. Yeah.
Perfect segue. Tony Ferguson. So Tony may wait for last weekend's card that didn't exist. He probably went out and fought. What would Tony Ferguson be fighting? He probably went out and fought an elk.
A metal pole.
Yeah, he probably went 5 rounds with a metal pole and took the decision.
Exactly.
I could see him writing Nate Diaz's name on the pole too, like for no reason whatsoever, just because the pole has cardio. It doesn't get tired.
That would be a Tony Ferguson thing, all right.
Absolutely. Did you see what I posted on Twitter? Somebody took a bite out of the middle of a Kit Kat.
No.
It's like it was a circle in the middle of the Kit Kat, and like this is what Tony Ferguson did after he weighed in.
That's perfect. Psycho.
Allegedly, Tony Ferguson has a fight in 3 weeks, and he cut weight down probably about 20 pounds. That's what Tony cuts, 20 to 25 pounds. Was that a smart decision coming against a guy that Justin Gaethje, which you're going to need all the cardio you want?
Well, here's the thing, right? It's like, this is Tony Ferguson, so that makes me feel like he's going to be fine because he's just so weird. No matter what he does, he makes it work. And I actually thought, from the pictures and everything, the videos, I thought he looked pretty good for that weight cut. It looked like it was a pretty good cut, which is kind of, funny. Like, damn, man, he didn't even fight. So ridiculous. I think that if anyone, I don't know if it's a good or a bad idea, but if anyone's going to be fine from it, it'll be him. But in general, no. And I think that's a terrible idea, right? But Tony, so you're like, all right, hey, let him do whatever he wants. Yeah.
You're not going to stop him.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I don't like it. I really don't. Justin Gaethje's a fighter. If you missed on my website, fight-library.com, shameless plug, I did a deep dive into Justin Gaethje's evolution as a fighter coming into the UFC. If you watch his first 3 fights with Michael Johnson, Poirier, and Eddie Alvarez, he's a brawler for sure. He plods forward and throws bombs when you strike. Very susceptible to the jab, all that. Since the Alvarez and Poirier loss, he's made leaps and bounds in his game. His footwork, he's a lot more light on his feet. He's not as trigger happy. He's slick off the counter. His footwork's great now. His head motion needs some work, but it's getting better. He's shown a good improvement in that. So Justin Gaethje, no telling what he's going to look like this time. His cardio is still a concern. So what if it's better? What if he's not a 1.5 round fighter? Tony Ferguson cut weight just now. That's going to mess his gas tank up. And, he's going to need that to fight this Justin Gaethje. That's probably going to be a lot better in the cardio department. He's had 3-4 fight camps now to improve his cardio. That's a 1.5 years, 2 years for him. Another thing I'm hoping that Tony really is taking care of is his knee. If you remember in the Anthony Pettis fight, it's a very subtle moment. Anthony Pettis starts kicking him in the leg. That's right after he got back from his surgery. Tony Ferguson's knee buckled really fast, and then Anthony stopped kicking. Justin Gaethje doesn't stop kicking.
No, he does not.
So this is a really tough fight for both fighters. So for Tony to do something like cutting weight to not fight, I don't like that idea from him at all. And this is going to be the fight where we lose the Khabib-Tony fight once and for all. I'm predicting it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said all that really perfectly, Gaethje. It's incredible that he was able to go undefeated, for as long as he did with the style that he had. That was an amazing thing to watch. And then the losses, I think he really needed to take that next step to be an even better fighter, which also crazy, because he's up in the 20s now for his fights. Yeah, man, I think Gaethje matches up very well with him, and I have him winning regardless, just because, styles make fights. And if this was, the Gaethje before those losses, I might feel a little bit differently about that. Obviously, still has a chance. But you mentioned his cardio being better. It might not need to be because he's knocking guys out early now, So Yeah, I think Gaethje's got a very good chance, and I have him winning, especially the new revitalized. Not I don't want to say revitalized, but he's improving, like you said. Okay, I don't have much to add, but yeah, I got Gaethje winning if they eventually fight.
Who knows at this point,
Yeah.
man? It's Tony Ferguson's probably going to end up fighting Kevin Lee after all this is done. So the end of the draft.
Rematch.
That's a ridiculous fight. I don't know who would ever make that.
Yeah, seriously.
No, you know who needs to fight Tony Ferguson? Do Bronx. That's who needs to fight.
Dude,
Tony
that's
Ferguson.
what I was just gonna say.
Wouldn't be able to tell the difference in the octagon. They're identical. They look the same.
That's a hell of a matchup, dude. That is so good.
Do Bronx is one of my dark horses. He's a little too he's not strong enough for me to dethrone Khabib.
Yeah.
I like Justin Gaethje as the dark horse to beat Khabib.
Yeah,
my God, he is so slick off his back. It's amazing. And then he started practicing Muay Thai, and he looks like a world beater striker. I'm like, what's going on with you, dude? I love it.
Similar thing to Gaethje, like you know exactly what they're gonna do for this first portion of their careers. Very good at it too. But then hit some speed bumps, and holy shit, they look like completely different guys now in great ways. Yeah, man, Oliveira has been so fun to watch lately.
It's crazy because he throws these teeps to the face and you don't even see him coming. It's like no tail on him at all. It's fantastic. I love it.
Yeah, seriously.
So while we're on the lightweight division, I saw a tweet today. Okay. Conor McGregor, Vegas put out odds. Conor McGregor was a 500-1 odds to become Ireland's next president. I'm gonna let that sink in for a second.
I thought you said it was 100.
It got slashed to 100-1 today.
Okay.
This is a thing you can bet on.
Oh my god.
This is a thing you can bet on. For every dollar, you'll make $100. You put $100 on it, you bring it home 10 grand when Conor gets elected because it's coming.
I don't know how the Irish political system works or whatever. Is he running? I don't know if they just vote him in.
He hasn't said anything.
But if he was to run, he'd win for sure.
Absolutely, there would be no contest. He would run through it like Jose Aldo. It'd be a 13-second KO. Can you hear him in the press conference talking to him? Look at him over there. He's a bum,
dude.
He led us into poverty for 8 years.
The funny thing is, you imagine it would be so 2020 to have Conor McGregor and Donald Trump as presidents of nations in the world. Who would be next?
Oh, the world is run by.
Seth Rogen would take over Canada.
Oh my God, the world is run by Miss USA, Judge, and the UFC's biggest star. Jesus.
Did he do that? I didn't know that.
Donald Trump ran the Miss USA pageant. It was his show.
It was his thing?
Yes.
Oh, man, that makes it even better.
He was on Howard Stern constantly. Yeah, your boobs are a little saggy. Like, oh my gosh, that's our president. That's funny.
That is.
Oh, I love it. It's crazy. So he's been on Twitter. Have you seen some of Conor McGregor's tweets? He's been on Twitter arguing with companies in Ireland about immigration and what they're doing, importing products. And he brings up very good points. This is the coronavirus we're talking about, and this is all aiding in contamination. He's trying to. Conor's very nationalistic. He's proud to be from Ireland, and I get that. That's a lot of people from where I'm from. I'm somewhat the same way, being from the United States. I have a great country. So I understand where he's coming from. This is just ridiculous. I can't. I was trying to go somewhere with it. I really was, but then I'm just like,
I can see it on your face.
I got nothing. Would you vote for Conor McGregor as the president?
No, absolutely not. But that's me. I mean,
well, let's see. Let me see something. Ireland population. How many?
Don't do that many votes.
4.9 million. If you don't think Conor McGregor can get 3 million of the population to vote for him, or just enough to get him to win, Conor McGregor can be the president of Ireland.
Yeah.
You're ashamed to admit that's true.
Hey, I'm not Irish. I don't care.
I know.
I guess I am about 6% or so Irish Scottish. So never mind.
You'd vote for Conor.
I mean, he's the only one I know, so maybe you've convinced
What
me.
if Conor McGregor goes on to be the king of England and he's the world's first ever prez?
Oh man.
I'd like
No,
to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Oh my god.
Prez does what he wants.
That
I can go all day. I really can.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stop right here though. I'm gonna stop because this is just out of hand.
It's too much.
This is just out of hand.
Davidson's missing out.
This Sunday we have some grappling action. Chael Sonnen's the only. There's three things that'll be around in the apocalypse:
The gangster,
UFC 249, and Chael Sonnen in a barn.
It sounds so great when you spell it out that way.
I am going to tweet that after this show. You better not steal it.
Oh no, you got it. Give it to you.
So yeah, Submission Underground is going to be really a fun card here. Give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, man, I got it pulled up right here, and obviously the big thing. Well, here before we get to the obvious big great thing about it, I mean, we got Jake Smith and Chris Lencioni coming back, who fought on the last one under the same circumstances. So it's really cool that they're coming back.
Holy crap!
So quickly.
I got an interview with Lencioni Saturday.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
it's the day before.
The day before. This dude's a maniac. I love Lencioni. I'll tell you about him in a second.
Yeah. Oh, I know him good. But yeah. So those guys coming back, teammates from ATT Portland. Exciting to see them always. Got some other names. Charlie Gilpin's familiar. And obviously Jake Ellenberger, he also was on the last one, wasn't he? That was when he lost to Ben Eagley, right?
Yes.
On his birthday.
Eagley ran through him.
yeah, Eagley, very good win there. Now he's taking on Gabriel Checo. That's a good matchup. Vanderford and Richie Martinez. It's a co-main event. That's a really fun one. I like the Boogie man. And Austin Vanderford, obviously a beast too. But then obviously the big thing is that main event, man. Which, goodness, Vinny versus Craig Jones. I wish that one had a crowd, just because it's like this is one that Chael's been wanting to make this one for a long time, and if we're getting it here at all, which is great, of course. So I'm very excited for that. It's hard for me to go against Craig Jones, I'll tell you that. No matter who he's going against, Vinny's going to make it very interesting. I just really hope it's not boring, just because when two guys are so good and it cancels out a bit, which is exactly what we kind of saw in their tag team match that they had 2 events ago. I was there for that, and oh my god, that was so upsetting, man. Because Craig didn't even get tagged in the match. He was there, just in the corner the whole time. Didn't do anything. He literally did nothing. So at least he's gonna have to this time. But I hope that they don't avoid each other until like overtime, because that's very possible too. Because Vinny was very defensive in that tag team match, and I'm sure he'll will be the same way, unfortunately. But fingers crossed.
They're running out of people. They're running out of people to give
Craig
Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got Vinny now. He's beat Gilbert Burns. They gave him Anthony Johnson.
Just because
it's Anthony Johnson, and he was giant. I mean, there's nobody else left for him to do except for, Gordon Ryan, who he lost to. Who's the other guy that's really good at jiu-jitsu that's in one championship?
Gary Tonin. Yeah,
Gary Tonin's another one that Uncle Chael needs to call up and be like, hey, look, we got a barn.
We got a barn, buddy.
So let me tell you my Lencioni story. Okay. The Bellator interviews, they're kind of hit or miss with who you get. They're trying to get publicity out in some people. Some of them don't give quite good interviews. Hold on. I'm looking at Chris's Tapology page. His foundation style is shakes that'll make you quake. It says that.
That's him, man. Sunshine for you.
So, yeah, I'm like, it's right before he fought Salim, I think it was.
His last fight.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to talk to Chris. So I didn't know Chris beforehand. And holy hell, he was just a maniac on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
He was crazy. And I'm just like, this dude was like, oh, dude, I'm just going out to finish. I don't care what happens. I'm trying to finish somebody, bro.
Yeah, he's a wild one.
Wow. So I'm excited. I'm talking to him Saturday. He texted me pictures of his house. He's been adding on to his house. in this
It's been an
quarantine.
ongoing battle.
Oh my god, I gotta text him real quick because I'm like, bro, you were fighting Sunday and you're talking to me Saturday. I'm fine with it. Whatever. So how does Craig Jones beat Vinny? Because it happens, right?
Yeah. So I remember Chael was talking about it because the big three, right, is Craig, Gordon, and Vinny. At least according to Chael, in his opinion, and I think that's a very fair assessment. And I think that he said that I remember he said Vinny beat one of them, and I'm assuming it was obviously. I feel like it was Craig. I don't know, but I don't know. I noticed he beat one of them. So how does he beat him here? I have a hard time imagining it not going to overtime, right? And we'll see some really fun. I think that's probably when it will be its most fun, actually, because you will see how they can get out of the escapes and whatnot if they can. Man, obviously the safe pick is to say Craig by heel hook or something, right? Leg lock, because that's what he does. But I don't know. You really can't ever underestimate Vinny. We forget how good that he is too. Just because his MMA career has been, it didn't end up being what we hoped it would be for such a good jiu-jitsu guy. But when it comes to jiu-jitsu straight up, I mean, he's still one of the very best as well. So
here's the issue with it. I'm looking at him on Tapology. I'm sure he's one in between here, but his big ones, he just drew to Nick Rodriguez at KSI 7.
Mm-hmm.
Vinicius Ferreira, he lost day 2 at ADCC in 2019. And James Pupolo lost day 1. Points, and decision also for Nick. Craig Jones is better than all of those guys combined times 2. I don't think it's going to be a fun match. I think Craig Jones just runs through him. Mm-hmm. Which will make it fun because, wow, Craig Jones did this again.
Yeah, we did it again.
He's so crazy. I talked to Ben because Ben has grappled with Craig Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what's his secret? What makes him so crazy good? He's like, it's not the fact that he's good at jiu-jitsu. It's not the fact that he's athletic. It's not the fact that he knows everything. It's the fact that he's good at jiu-jitsu, athletic, and he knows everything at the same time. Like, he's literally a step ahead of you at all times. And Ben's a great grappler. Dude's on the verge of being in the UFC. He's just a great fighter all around. Craig Jones he's just a puzzle. I don't know if anybody will be able to figure him out. So it'll be interesting to see what Vinny can do. If Vinny can play on the defensive side and protect his legs, I think he'll be all right. But who knows?
Yeah. Either way, like I said, hard to go against Craig Jones, man. It's just so hard.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So, anything you want to bring up today aside from the UFC new shows that I'm kind of excited for? Did you see that?
The what about
the
UFC
new Fight Pass shows?
Oh, I heard something about it. Isn't it?
They've got 6 new shows they got coming out. It's going to be like a physics show,
really?
Legends, talking about legends of the UFC show. They got a Year of the Fighter, where they take big moments in fighters' careers, where they come up. Like the first one's going to be Izzy and his title run up to the title.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a physics one. They got a whole bunch. It's going to be pretty cool.
Nice.
I wrote that up for Eric today too.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. I don't know. Let's see. Well, did you see the stuff about the PFL?
Yeah, canceled.
Yeah, canceled and then cut a chunk of the roster.
Third of it. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I wrote that for Eric as well. God damn, I love you, Eric.
Shout out to the boy.
And yeah, I got to now. So I wrote it up and the headline was canceled and Greg Savage emailed him and said, hey, it was not canceled, it's postponed. I'm sorry, but you don't postpone a whole year. They're not going to call Ray Cooper the 2021 champion next year. He's going to be the 2022 champion.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's something.
It was weird because they said they're going to pay in that presser where they canceled. We're going to pay all of our fighters a stipend. I'm like, oh boy, they're trying to sound they're about to chop the block.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been making a lot of signings. I think a lot of the UFC guys are going to be safe, like OAM. Roy, they name dropped in the press release, so he's fine. The champions are obviously fine, but
everybody else
guys are going to get X.
Yeah. Sucks, man. Really sucks, but I don't know.
So, what's your thoughts on PFL? Do you think they can make that jump to be UFC, Bellator, and PF1 level, or what? Because they're not there.
No, they're not there. And I like the uniqueness, right? I like whenever something's like obviously very different. And my biggest problem with the PFL, kind of from the start, was a fear that, this format creates a potential of seeing, a lot of rematches and repeats of matchups that we've seen already. And, we've seen that before. Like the one example I always go to is Lance Palmer fought, who was it? He fought some guy he shouldn't have been fighting. He fought him like 3 times. I don't remember which guy it was. Alex Gilpin, maybe.
Yeah, that's who it was. Gilpin.
Yeah, so
I saw him fight in New Orleans.
Yeah, so just like things like that, where if you don't continue to bring in new people, you're going to have this problem where you're just seeing a lot of the same guys fighting each other, which, we saw a bit between the first 2 seasons. But then, they started to bring in, sign a lot more people, which is, good. And I think the way to obviously change that. So yeah, I was excited to see how this was going to play out. But honestly, still, even with all that in mind, the uniqueness of it, giving out as much money as they are, which is amazing. I don't know. Hard for me to get super interested in it. Like, obviously I love fighting no matter what. I'll watch it fight. If it's on anybody, doesn't matter. But just getting me to like remember that a PFL show is coming up, it's always kind of a task, Like it's not something that really sticks with me. I have nothing wrong with them, like bad blood towards it or any hatred or anything like that, animosity. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm just so used to having like a champion, right? Like not a tournament winner, like their style of champions. So maybe that's what it is for me. I still check them out, of course, but they don't grab me the same. You know what I mean? I don't know. How do you feel about them?
I think it's a matter of time before they get bought out. And
yeah.
It will not be the UFC that buys them out.
Oh, really?
Well, the UFC can't afford to buy them right now. They're hanging on by the skin of their teeth, paying a monthly note they can't afford. That's the reason the whole ESPN deal exists. It's going to be one of the Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that it would be really cool. And, I've spoken to, this was in December, I spoke to Peter Murray, the CEO. And I asked him about, because this was around the time, obviously we're closing out 2019, Bellator and Ryzen about to have their big shows.
Yeah.
I asked him about cross-promotional bouts and stuff like that, because I think that would be a really cool idea for that format. If you're to bring in people from all over and market that as
like the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, exactly. We got the Ryzen guy over here. Can he come in and win the season this time? Stuff like that. I think that would be really cool. Take it to the next level. But, he was kind of adamant on they're going to stick to, building up a little bit first, which I get it from a business standpoint. Like, you don't want to rely on help, I guess, especially when they're still young. But I mean, man, if you can establish kind of that friendliness while still, being true to yourself at the same time, don't bring in like everybody, bring in like a couple guys if these other companies will let you and have them come over. Like, I don't know. I thought that would be a really cool thing. Interesting comment by him. But yeah, that was just something I want to throw in because that makes me really excited to think about, everybody coming into one. I always like when people are working together.
I'm all for a unified mixed martial arts world where multiple promotions exist together. But I'm also against that because that's what happened to boxing, and we have 30 belts. So, as I was going into before you hit your tangent real quick, it's a matter of time before the PFL gets bought out. And it's going to be one of these Asian companies that come in. Either one or Ryzen is going to buy out PFL. I have a strong belief that the Chinese government is really far into one championship's pockets. I feel like they're being funded by the Chinese government pretty much, which, I mean, that's more power to them. If they can get that, that's fine. That's how Chinese business works. It's just their way of life. That said, I can see one buying it because one wants to get into the United States market. Chatry really wants to go head-to-head with Dana White. And he won't win because Dana wipes the floor with him 10 times out of 10 when it comes to promoting. But if he wants to get a foothold into the United States, they can hold cards here, but nobody's going to know who they are. PFL has an ESPN deal already. Buy PFL. That's the perfect foothold for them, and they got great fighters already. You got Rory McDonald, who's fought in the UFC. Olivier Aubin-Mercier has fought there. You got Ray Cooper III, who's great. Magomed Karamov, I had to remember which Magomed it was. He's top 5 UFC fighter. Magomed's a beast.
Yeah, he's very good.
You got Kayla Harrison. You've got plenty of people that you can market in the United States. And it'd be cool if they came around New Orleans and gave out some of those free tickets because I'd go.
You got to remember too that one does have some guys that fans do know in America. They got Vitor now, Eddie Alvarez, Demetrius, obviously, Lineker now. Yeah, forget about that. Yeah. I mean, Angela Lee's pretty popular. Maybe not as well known in America, but she's one of their biggest stars, of course. So I mean, yeah, that's a great move if they could manage to do that. I don't know if I see it, but that makes me want it now that you bring it up. Yep. That'd be really cool to see that.
I mean, I have no insider information. I don't know if that's actually happening. That's just me seeing it as a makes sense move,
Yeah.
PFL can't be valued at that much. Not right now. They're totally staying afloat because of cash given to them, not because they're making cash, which sucks because I like PFL. I like a lot of the fighters they got. I just can't wait to see Lance Palmer lose. He's kind of boring. Sorry, Lance. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that, but
that would be cool to see Lance versus Bibiano. That would be a great fight. That would be a really good one.
Better pray and lay.
Yeah, buddy.
Bibby's gonna take your neck or something. Jeez. Well, Drake, I think it's been a good episode, man. Hopefully we'll have some fights to talk about soon. Something good. Because so far on Open Mat, we've talked about drama.
Yeah, that's all we can do.
Watch TV if I want drama. Where can everybody find your work and your social media at?
All right, you can find me at DrakeRiggs _ on Twitter and Instagram. Mainly on Twitter is where I put everything. Oh, did I?
What about the crazy question?
Oh, right. All right, of course.
Well, we were going to do a Derek Lewis one this week, but...
Oh, man, I forgot all about that.
Davidson ain't here, so we're going to hold off on
that. I didn't even study.
Oh, come on. You can riff off Derek Lewis off the top of your head. All right, so I'm going to paint a picture. You're at Taco Bell.
Okay.
You're ordering 17 tacos, hard shell.
All right, very hungry.
Yes. You get to the drive-thru, you pay for it, and you get your tacos.
Mm-hmm.
They ask you, do you want sauce? And you get your preference of fiery, mild, or whatever. How many sauce packets per taco do you need?
I don't use the sauce, so none.
Whoa, heresy! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
I knew that reaction was coming. I was like,
"Oh,
is he really gonna ask me about the sauce? I don't use the sauce at all."
Oh my God! You're not American.
I know.
The answer's 2. It's always 2 or more. The last one you can go 7. It doesn't matter. Just drift it. Anyways, back. Where can everybody find you on social media?
Yes, of course. I had to get that in. You can follow me at DrakeRiggs _ on Instagram and Twitter. Mainly on Twitter was where you can find everything. Of course, writing for my MMA News, The Scrap, RT Sport, Fansided, The Body Lock, all that good stuff. Find it all on my Twitter. Obviously listen to us on the Loudmouth MMA Network, Podcast Network. My YouTube also is just my name, Drake Riggs. And, that's about it. Just recently dropped a very interesting chat with Wei Li Zhang's English teacher. I got the full story on that up for my MMA News and the interview, obviously, on my channel and in the article. So check that one out. Very interesting. Oh, and speaking of cross-promotional stuff, I did a thing seeing how UFC versus Bellator, how the champions have done crossing over, having success in each promotion. So interesting little deep dive there. Thank you, sir. So yeah, check out that stuff and always more in the works. So yeah.
As you said, don't forget to follow Loudmouth MMA on Twitter and follow the podcast. It's not just me and Drake. It's everybody. That's awesome. This is the best MMA Twitter has to offer, hands down. Follow me on Twitter as well, Blaine Henry TFL. And you can also check out my website, fight-library.com. I've got a lot of NCAA wrestling coming. You get to learn about Quincy Monday. I just interviewed today, whose dad was an Olympian 3-time. And yeah, it's awesome. So we're out. Later, guys.
Peace.